Welcome everyone to today's advisor forum, how advisors can support student engagement. I am excited to introduce Dr. Tara Benson. She's the lead facilitator for today's advisor forum. She will introduce members of her staff. And again, this is an important advisor forum to help us help students get connected to campus. We know that, yes, it's important for students to be successful in the classroom, but we also want students to gain leadership skills, team building skills, many other skills through activities, through student engagement. And we know that students who are engaged on campus are oftentimes more successful in the classroom. So Tara, welcome to you as well as your staff. We are excited to hear from you today.
Great, and thank you so much. I am just thrilled to see that number 56 down there and to have so many advisors who are also interested in getting students, involved outside the classroom, because there are definite benefits that we are going to chat about today. And then also just take some time to inform you of all the different ways for students to get engaged on campus. Some of them you probably know a lot about, and some of them you may not. And so I am happy to have almost all of our full staff of the Office of Student Engagement present today. And we're each going to get a little section of time to talk about our areas, but just as a brief hello, we have Neil Bourgeois, who works with our fraternity and sorority community. We have Paige Jenkins, who works with our programming area. And we have Carlye Genisio, who works with fraternity and sorority life. And then Briar Douglas, who is our newest staff member, will be hopping on the call in about 20 minutes when he's available, and he's going to be working with our co-curricular involvement area and our leadership development programs. And then I get to kind of put the pack together and talk about Welcome Weekend and our Traditions Council programming. So we are super excited about this. I'm going to start, as true fashion of people who work with students do, with an icebreaker, but it's not a big deal. We'll just have you type in the chat. So one of my favorite things in the world is cake. And one of my favorite quotes is, a party without cake is just a meeting. And so we're going to go ahead and have a virtual kind of cake party so that we know we are having a good time together today. So I want people to type into the chat box, what is your favorite flavor of cake? Ice cream cake from Campbell. Campbell's one of my jazzercise friends. I see her online at least. That's fun. Carrot cake from Eileen. Kristen likes chocolate with vanilla icing. Kim likes chocolate. Jill Stevens likes German chocolate. Isabel Bauman, German chocolate. Christy McCartney, carrot cake. Nicole likes any kind of cake they can get. Yes. Samesies. Crumb cake streusel topping from Jonathan. Cheesecake from Anise. Mint chocolate chip ice cream cake. Ooh, Dusty has a very specific nothing but cakes, gluten-free chocolate chip cake. Yes. Ross likes carrot cake. Julie G likes brownies. Diana Garland, red velvet. Carlye likes Dairy Queen ice cream cake. So Carlye, do you know, and I don't know if they have them in Springfield, but I have heard a rumor that they actually have Dairy Queen ice cream cupcakes. Can you confirm if you know this or not? This is important information for me. Because sometimes I can't commit to a whole Dairy Queen ice cream cake, Luis ice cream cake, yes. Michelle Hewlett, strawberry, especially from Little Lola's. Where's Little Lola's? I need to know about this place. Dark and fudgy chocolate from Katie. Dr. Glaskin, chocolate layer cake with mousse in between the layers covered in chocolate ganache. You know what you like, and I like that too. Tiramisu from Queen City Deli, says Lacey. Oh my goodness. Carlye, okay. Well, we've got to figure out if Dairy Queen has the Dairy Queen ice cream cake cupcakes. I feel like this would be good information for everyone to know. So we may have to do a little follow-up on that. But thanks everyone for playing along. Hopefully that got your motors running for us to have a really good and fun conversation. I have just a brief little PowerPoint, and then we're just going to spend a lot of our time just talking with each other. I'm going to keep the chat up. And so since there's so many of us, it may be really hard to take anyone off mute and get an answer and a question and stuff done. So I'm going to ask that we just go ahead and utilize that chat function as much as we can, and I'll keep on top of it and we'll moderate it or monitor it, during the time that everyone's speaking, okay? Here is our little PowerPoint. So getting the most out of college is kind of what we called it today. And first we're going to start with why get involved. And so this is your first time that you can hop in that chat and go ahead and toss in some of those answers for us. If you would, why is it important for people to get involved? Connection to the university. Yes, Christina. Campbell said to make friends. Christina says retention. Kim says meet others. Diana, get to know each other. Kate, sense of belonging on campus. Yes. Brittany, professional development, connection, retention, buy into the program, to belong. Adam said a sense of community. Christina says student success. Ross says team building, communication skills. Yes. Vanessa says retention. Jonathan, mental health. Regina, belonging as a mental health protective measure. Yes. Julie G, info for letters of recommendation. Yes. Michelle, everyone wants to feel connected to others in their community. And Tara says accountability groups. Yes, all of those things are true. We know that students are academically more successful when they have a balanced social and academic life on campus. We know that they tend to stay in school and persist longer when they have a purpose both inside and outside of the classroom. We know that, there's a study that's done by the career centers. Dusty may have to help me with the name of it, but it's NACE, National Association of Career somethings. And they do a survey every year about what is it that employers want to have from their college graduates. And a number of those are soft skills, which are the skills that aren't necessarily tied to an academic discipline, but they're still important. And some of those things are working with other people, team building, working with data in a different way, learning how to communicate with others and things like that. So our students are definitely displaying something different when they're involved versus when they're not involved on campus. It gives them a chance to practice what they're learning inside the classroom to outside the classroom, so they can have some specific examples when they go and they interview for jobs or internships. Somebody said academic letters of recommendation. Yes, there's usually some faculty and staff involved with specifically our academic and professional organizations. So that is super helpful. Thank you, Dusty. It's the National Association of Colleges and Employers. Also, it's fun. Going to college is fun, and getting to meet other people is fun. Learning who you are is fun. And so we definitely want to acknowledge the fact that sometimes it's just good old fun too. So here's a quick little intro video. There's no words to it or anything. It's just sound and video, but it's a quick introduction of everything we're going to cover with you today. So it is my pleasure to pass along some of the speaking time to our OSE staff. So they'll just kind of go in order here, and we are going to kick off with Paige Jenkins.
Hi, everyone. I am so excited to be here. Like Tara mentioned earlier, I am Paige. I am the Programs Coordinator in the Office of Student Engagement, and I oversee our Student Activities Council. So I kind of just want to go a little bit more in depth about what SAC is. So it is the largest student-led programming board on campus. We put on about 2 to 3 events per week that are free to students. Also to note for staff, if we have an event that doesn't meet the capacity, staff are also allowed to come to our events. So if you're ever questioning that, you can always send me an email and I can let you know what that's looking like. We are made up of an executive board of 13 students and all council members, which we can have up to 60. We have 8 committees, 5 of which are programming committees. Those include after hours, where we have an event every Thursday night from 7 to 10 p.m. And those can range from bingo to craft nights. And then sometimes we even go off campus to places like Andy B's or Alamo Draft House, which is a lot of fun. We also have our campus events committee, which are events that take place during the day and are meant to be more of a come and go in between classes. So sometimes those look like national days, like National Pizza Day, or our Stuff a Boomer event that we have every year, the first week of classes, where they get to stuff a little boomer. And then we have our films committee, which shows blockbusters and older films. So we'll typically do a series based on what the committee plans. Sometimes that looks like musicals or throwback movies. This past semester, we did an international film series, which was really cool. And then we also have our live entertainment committee, which typically brings concerts, hypnotists, comedians, and different local acts, sometimes students that perform songs or are in a band as well. And then lastly, we have our public affairs committee, which is tied to our mission here on campus. And they do events such as Breaking Barriers, which is a series where they talk about different tough topics that they'd like to bring in. They also bring in speakers for different heritage months and do a lot of collaborations. So for instance, we have an internship going on with partnership with the Career Center on March 23rd. So that's coming up soon. And then we also have our non-programming committees, which are marketing, publicity, and membership development. We really do value our members and getting their feedback for our events and what we're planning. So to tell you a little bit more about our membership, we have applications that open for those the first 2 weeks of each semester. We have talked about doing rolling applications, but we've currently had a lot of interest, so we're not there yet, but maybe next semester we will be. Membership is free to students, and our meetings are every Tuesday from 4 to 5 in PSU 313. Technically, our meetings are open to anyone, so they can come in and kind of see what our process looks like. However, we do like proposals and vote on events that we're planning, and those are only for our membership. Regarding exec, anyone can apply for those positions, and for next year, our application is actually opening today at 4 p.m. So if you have any students that you'd like to encourage to apply for exec for SAC, the link will be in our link tree in our social media, which is at Most State SAC. And I really think that our organization helps students enhance their programming and leadership skills. And to note, if you encourage anyone to apply as an exec member, they do get a $1,000 scholarship each semester because they're putting in that work, planning events, and they also have to do 10 office hours a week. For you all, if you want to know what's happening with SAC events, this semester we started doing these printed calendars, which I love. They look like this. And I do have some set aside. So if any of you are interested in having one, you can just reach out to me via email at paigejenkins@missourustate.edu. And I can send one of those off to you. We also do plan on doing them for the fall. So if you'd like one then as well, just let me know and I'd be happy to send one over. So that's all I have for Student Activities Council. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to our next staff member? All
I'm
right.
not seeing right now, Paige, so we'll go ahead and move on. We call them Team FSL. I don't know who is going to speak when, but I'm passing it over to Carlye and Neil.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Team FSL, or Gnarly, as we're also called, just a combination of our names. I'm going to make it a thing, so I'm going to keep talking about it. But we're going to talk to you a little bit about our FSL community, give you kind of an overview of what our community looks like, and then give you some ways that you can be partners with us too. So we have 4 governing councils for our 30 chapters on campus. So our chapters are all of the student organizations that fall into fraternity and sorority life. We really split that in half on how we advise them. So I work with half of our community, being our interfraternity council, which is our majority of our fraternities on campus. They range from anywhere from 20 members to our biggest is 160 members. And then just totally, we have a little over 1,000 fraternity members in our community. That's spread up across to 15 different chapters. So in my role, I advise all of those 15 chapters, and then what we call our interfraternity council is our exec board that governs all of those fraternities. So they help set the bylaws and policies. They do events for them, and a lot of that from the council side is connecting them to resources. So we'll do different roundtables with like all of our academic chairs, and we'll try to bring in someone from maybe the Academic Advising Center or another department on campus to give some resources. We're in the process of preparing a headshot and resume review day coming up. So we try to get events for them that connect them to different resources, also educational events and speakers. And just with our IFC community, our fraternities on campus, yearly they do over 6,000 hours of community service. So they do a lot of things that are like street cleanups, or they'll host an event and donate items to different philanthropies. Just in last fall, we donated almost $200,000 to different philanthropies in the Springfield community. And so service is a big proponent of what we do in our FSL community. We promote, of course, excellence in academics, but also our service. And so on top of our interfraternity council, all of our fraternities that I work with, I also work with our one multicultural Greek organization, Sigma Lambda Gamma. So that is a sorority that's open to anyone that's multicultural that can join that organization too. And they also do plenty of service hours and events on campus. They do a lot of events centered around women empowerment and connecting different resources on campus and in the community to those members. And we're always looking for advisors. All of our chapters have to have a faculty advisor, and in that role, you are helping that chapter with different academic resources or just anything on campus. You kind of serve as an additional liaison between the chapter and campus resources. So I know I speak for Carlye and I both. If any of you are ever interested in becoming an advisor, every now and then we have one that's done it for 3, 5, maybe 6 years, and they're ready to take a step back. And so we would love to have a kind of ongoing list of people to reach out to when we need another advisor. So just feel free to contact Carlye and I if you're interested in being an advisor. And we can talk to you more about what that looks like if you're interested too. I'm going to pass it over to Carlye.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. So like Neil said, we have a very large community. Our fraternity and sorority life community was just over 2,250 students when we did our end of the year programming report for the fall. So that makes up around like 10% of the undergraduate population here at Missouri State. So we have a lot of students that fall into our student involvement group. So that's really exciting. Most of all of our students are also required by their own organizations to also be in other student organizations. So they reach even farther than that just on campus. Like Neil said, he oversees IFC, which is the Interfraternity Council, and Sigma Lambda Gamma. I oversee our Panhellenic groups, which make up 9 of our chapters here on campus. We have about 30 total in our community as far as fraternity and sorority life organizations go. So we have 8 national groups and 1 local group that is very specific and special just to Springfield. They don't have a chapter anywhere else. So that's really exciting for us. Panhellenic also really does a lot of service and philanthropy, just like IFC. So Panhellenic had just over 1,100 members in their community. So they did around 9,000 community service hours and raised over $93,000 to give away to national philanthropic groups. Another really big proponent of fraternity and sorority life is to make sure that our students are getting involved on campus and getting some of that outside of the classroom education. So in fraternity and sorority life, we expect our chapters to also provide different educational aspects to our community, whether that's over like risk management topics, maybe it's over mental health, diversity, equity, and inclusion, scholarship, just a wide variety of topics here on campus leadership as well. So that's really exciting. Panhellenic had over 35 educational events just within their own groups within a semester. So they really are trying to bring more learning just outside of the classroom. So they're pretty active. I also advise our National Panhellenic Council, which makes up a slightly smaller group on campus. They have around 20 members in their community. So that's, and they're all looking to grow this year, which is really exciting. We've seen numbers across of student organizations overall shift, but MPHC is looking to grow. And so that's really exciting. They make up 5 of the chapters on campus. So again, a lot smaller and different membership as far as MPHC goes. They raised a good amount of money last year and also did service and had 11 educational events in their groups throughout that semester. So that's really exciting. They are just on the move to do better things than ever this year. You'll see them in different events all throughout campus too. So along with Panhellenic and IFC. So that's really special. So most of our groups, as far as fraternity and sorority life, you'll see a lot of them take in new members in the fall. You might see a large group of people gathered on the North Mall, typically that first or that second Monday of classes, I should say. That is what Panhellenic's bid day would be. So they have a little bit more publicized recruitment, and PHC has more of a research-based intake process. So they really want you to get to know their organization and specifically only join one, rather than Panhellenic and IFC operate a little bit more on you can take interest and go to a lot of different recruitment events and experience a lot different chapters across campus, rather than MPHC says we want you to really take interest in our group and specifically try to join our group and only experience our group. So typically you'll see a lot of our groups doing recruitment or intake in the fall, but a lot of them take new members all throughout the year. So if you ever have students that are interested in fraternity and sorority life, totally direct them to Neil or myself, and we can get them connected and involved with whatever council best fits what they're looking for and all of those fun things. So Neil, was there anything that you think I'm kind of overviewing or missing?
No, I think that's a good overview of what, our section of the office does. Just encourage the students, if they're looking for another way to get involved on campus and find another community, another sense of home, another sense of belonging. That's one of the many great things that our FSL community can do. So encourage them to do their research and figure out what FSL looks like on our campus. And we're more than happy to help them get connected to find their second home on campus. Any questions about fraternity and sorority life from anyone?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat, but if anything comes up, I will let you know. We'll kick it off next with Briar, who joined us. So Briar, do you want to take over here?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much. And sorry for being a little bit late. I just got out of class. So, just hustling from one Zoom meeting to the next. But yeah, so great to see everybody. My name is Briar Douglas. I'm the coordinator of co-curricular involvement in the OSE. And so basically, if Neil and Carlye aren't heading up the organization, I'm kind of helping head up the organization. I'm secondarily, of course, with our wonderful organization advisors. Also, as another part of my job, I'm also advising Most State Lead, which is Centennial leaders and emerging leaders at the moment. And you might remember some other programs on campus if you've been here for a while, like Distinction of Public Affairs. We also did a few other just kind of mini series of leadership development a few years ago. And so yeah, so that's one way that students can get involved. Another way, I guess, in the OSC is through Emerging Leaders. It is a barrier-free leadership development program for any student on campus. It's kind of specifically targeted for first and second year students on campus, but this year we've started opening it up to any student who's currently enrolled, and it seems like they're enjoying it too. And so I'm thinking we're just going to keep it to just anybody on campus who wants to kind of sharpen their leadership skills. So again, that's Emerging Leaders. Applications technically for that open, sometime in the fall, sometime in the spring. If you're just keeping up with the Office of Student Engagement, you'll kind of see us publicizing information about it. But on the other side, with just kind of organizations in general, I totally agree. I want to echo Neil and Carlye's point that, if anybody who maybe is or is not involved with FSL, they can get involved in a number of other student organizations that we have. I think we have close to 200 student organizations as of right now. And so they're always looking to expand their membership. I think right now engagement has just kind of taken a dip after the pandemic. And I think that students are just looking for ways to find their people and find their community, and student organizations is a great way to do so. I know I did my undergrad at Missouri State. Shout out to Carmen Ketchum-Brewer, my advisor from Missouri State undergrad. Good to see you on the call. But I think that my involvement really helped me get through classes, just having that group of people that, were like me and could just help relate to, the struggles of classes, the struggles of balancing work-life balance, all that stuff. I think that that's something that the students are really missing right now, and they just don't know where to look, right? And so you all have a really unique role in that they literally have to meet with y'all. And so you're kind of their one, if you could potentially be their one point of contact with, the university outside of faculty. And so, I think there's a misconception of you don't want to overwhelm students and you don't want them to be over involved or overworked. But again, to kind of go back to my point of, sometimes being involved can really help the student get through their classes. Maybe it establishes a relationship with people that are in their degree already, and they can, form study groups. Again, just another way to just socialize with other students on campus that might be like them. Tara, is there anything else you wanted me to mention? Sorry, I'm coming on a little late, so I'm not sure what all I can talk about. I could talk for hours on organizations, but.
Can you touch on the removal of Campus Link in our new program and kind of how it's going to move forward?
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, as Tara just mentioned, we did get rid of Campus Link. I'm sure you've noticed. I know that I always will I didn't realize how often I would go to Campus Link just to look at our list of organizations. And now that we don't have that, I am very much missing that right now. And so we are in the process of getting our new Campus Link, quote unquote, up and going. And so as of right now, if you go onto the Missouri State page, the Campus Link tab has changed to just student orgs. And it's kind of a good resource that you can use just to see at least what student orgs we have and different ways that students can get involved. But we're looking to hopefully launch our new organization management system later this semester, and definitely into the summer. We'll be really working on training people on it, seeing what the new system has, seeing what we can carry over from Campus Link to our new system. I know that one thing that we're particularly excited about is that organizations will be able to post their events on our new org management system and link them to Missouri State's events calendar. I think that's going to really be helpful because I think we all know at least about the calendar of Missouri State that we can go to see what events are going on. And now student organizations will also be able to post their events on that calendar in a more simple and just straightforward way. And so I'm really excited about that. I think that's really going to help with just engagement and awareness of our student organizations overall. Yeah. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Like Neil and Carlye said, and I'm sure Tara also probably mentioned this, we're always looking for advisors. One thing that we're seeing as we kind of come out of the pandemic, hopefully crossing our fingers, we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, is that student orgs are going to be, restarting and getting revamped. And a lot of them just need some faculty or staff support. And so if that sounds like it would interest you, feel free to shoot me an email, shoot Tara an email, and I'm sure we can find an organization that, shares some kind of passion with you as well, that would love to have your help and just support. And if nothing else, just kind of a sounding board to bounce their ideas off of. I know a lot of times students have really great ideas. They just aren't really sure where to start or who to go to with their ideas. And so that's where y'all can really come in and help.
Neil just popped into the chat and put our office groups and individual groups on Instagram. So all those are Instagram. I think a lot of those are also Twitter. So if you use either one of those platforms, that is a great way to see what all is coming up. Just to kind of finish us up, I am going to speak a little bit about Welcome Weekend, and that is a huge event that occurs right as students are moving in. And, sometimes you have students who are kind of looking for those opportunities. Maybe they're transferring in and they're wondering how they might get plugged in easily, or you're meeting with summer students and things like that. That's a great way to do it. We have programming that kicks off kind of Thursday before classes start. All of those events will be listed on the website under www.missouristate.edu/welcome. So that is an easy place to go. We do talk about it during SOAR. We do send out some stuff, but honestly, we all know until students get to campus, sometimes they forget how something might pertain to them that they weren't expecting. So I'm just going to throw that website here in the chat too, so you can keep that. But some of our traditional events that come up, SAC will likely do a movie outside. We will have a traditions tour where students can learn about different traditions we have on campus and start earning their way to becoming a traditions bearer. And then we will have on Friday snow cones outside. We'll have a family dessert reception. We'll have a play fair event, which is like a giant icebreaker basically outside for new students. And then Saturday we have a see you later brunch where one of the questions we get is, when is the time for families to kind of leave their students to do their thing? So we kind of created this brunch as like the soft goodbye. So that's a great time to kind of say like, hey, let's have breakfast together, and then like, let me do my thing and you can go and do yours or whatever. Then we have a ton of different things that happen throughout Saturday afternoon. We have a transfer student ice cream social. We're going to have a commuter student event. Our biggest event that night is Bear Bash. That'll be inside and outside the PSU. It's open to all students, of course. And then the next day we have Convocation, the Balon BQ, and our Student Organization Festival. So those again are some of the best ways for students to kind of make those early contacts right when they get to school. If they miss out on that opportunity, we do have a couple of smaller touch points with student organization bears that happen in the fall and in the spring. Once we launch the new software, they'll be able to connect with student organizations much easier. Sometimes we do have students who come to our office and they just say, I want to get involved, and they're not really sure the direction they want to go. They don't know their interests. So probably the best bet would be to make an appointment with either Briar or myself so that we could chat with them about their opportunities and give them kind of the place to go. Maybe they just need some assistance in learning what some things are. We call it SGA. Well, they don't realize that could be very simple, a good connection to what was student council, or maybe they had a student council that was more programming based, and really student activities council is a better fit for them. So we can kind of chat with them about what they're looking for and help direct them to the good place to go. I get the joy of also working with our Traditions Council this year, and that is a newer programming group, and it was created in conjunction with the Bear Fee when we started the new lacrosse fields and redid the student section of the football field and things like that. But for so many years, I've been here 13 years, and for those of you who were here at the time, rewind 13 years ago, I bet you could imagine going across campus, and I can still remember it and seeing like a ton of Mizzou t-shirts, and just the Missouri State pride wasn't there. And we kept asking like, why aren't we more excited about being Bears? And so that was just a long going conversation. Students, we kept hearing them say over and over again, well, it's because we don't have any traditions. And we had traditions the whole time. We just didn't know what they were. So Traditions Council kind of are the keepers of the traditions now. And so they've identified about 60 different unique traditions to being a Missouri State Bear. So students can download a Traditions Bearer app. And when I say bearer, it's BEARER. And they can start earning traditions. They do that on their app. They can visit with the students. We have check-in tables once a month. And once they get to certain levels of achieving, 25 traditions, 50, things like that, then they get different prizes along the way. And the last thing, if they complete all of them, then they get a medallion to wear at graduation. So that is something really cool and unique to Missouri State. They do a lot of other things. They do pep rallies. They'll do Fountain Day on the day that we turn on the fountain by the library. And so they'll have food and t-shirts, and the Carolyn will play and things like that. We're not releasing the date of that yet, but it is coming up in April. I will say that. So that in itself has been a tradition that has kind of emerged from what they do. But they have opportunities for students to get involved as well. So if you have a student who is particularly interested in spirit and being a Missouri State Bear, then Traditions Council is likely going to be a good fit for them. So the last thing that we have in our office that we don't spend a ton of time talking about, but just as a support, and I see a lot of names on here who are student organization advisors. So the Student Organization Funding Allocation Council is also run through our office, and that's about $200,000 that we allocate back out to student organizations every year. And so if you have any questions about that, please let me know, and I can get you the information that you need. Or if it's just it's a confusing process in general, so we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Yes, Dusty was our SOFAC GA, so we helped make him the professional he is today, I'd like to think, and make sure that organizations are taking advantage of that funding. Absolutely. I wrote down a few different questions. We were going to do a Kahoot, but we decided just to do this a little more naturally. So I am going to ask a question about something that one of the staff members has said, and whoever answers correctly in the chat first will win an OSE swag bag. And I wish I would have brought one in here, but they're white drawstring bags, and they could have lots of things in them. They might have a t-shirt, they may have a phone charger, they may have a mug, they might have a Frisbee, a combination of those things, and we will get that to your office. So stakes are high, and here we go. What advertising tool did Paige offer to send to you that she is really excited about this year? So Paige talked about and showed an object. Yes. It's going quick. Anta, A-N-Y-T-A, Cabot. You are correct, and you are our first winner. Good job. The answer was the calendar. Paige, you want to hold up the calendar again? I have mine right here. It's a great place to, if you have that right by your desk, to say, oh, you're bored today? Oh, you haven't found a way to connect? Well, today, SAC is having the Little Box of Sunshine event. Maybe we walk over together. Maybe you grab a friend and go. So that's a great tool to have. All right, that's great. Number one is done. Congratulations. Number two, what is the name of the multicultural sorority that Neil mentioned? You can either spell it out or give the letters. Ooh, this one's a tricky one. What is the name or the letters or part of the name of the multicultural sorority that Neil mentioned? Dusty, yes, SLG, good job. We had some others come in at the end there, but Dusty got it. Sigma Lambda Gamma is the name of that organization. Awesome. How many students are in the Panhellenic community? Carlye mentioned a specific number. What was that number? Brittany, yes, thank you, Brittany. 1,100, good job. And Briar mentioned a specific number of student organizations. And what was that number? Yes, Campbell, over 200. Good job. And I talked about a specific event that Traditions Council hosts every year, and it's coming up in April. What is the name of that event? Yes, Dan Raines, Fountain Day is correct. All right, I have Anatia, if I'm not saying that correctly, my apologies. Dusty, Brittany, Campbell, and Dan are our winners today. So we will be getting your OSE swag bag to you. And I'm just going to ask for any last minute questions. If you want to go ahead and take yourself off mute, you can do that, or raise your hand if you'd like to talk with us, or I can go ahead and take any questions in the chat as well. Dusty, Fountain Day is the best. I definitely encourage you all to come out to that.
Hey, Tara, it's Ross.
Yep.
When we're meeting with students, our advisees, oftentimes they ask, about involvement and how to become engaged. Is it appropriate for us to refer them to you all just to come over to the OSE and check out your space, or would you rather us have them email or do research online? I mean, what's the best way for advisors to have students contact you all?
Yeah, and I'll ask anyone else who wants to respond to this too, but I would say all of the above are appropriate. Once we get our new software going, that's going to be a great landing spot for students to go to. Trying to go through 200, 300 student organizations is overwhelming, but in that they can say like, okay, let me just take a look and get a feel for everything. There's contact information. They can like just chat with that organization and then also find out when their meetings are. If they want to come over to our office, we have student specialists that sit or student workers who sit at the front, and along with our administrative assistant, they will give tours of the area. If students are interested, just kind of to come and hang out. We have a great student organization space. We have a conference room that they can use. Any of that, they are welcome to come and use as much as they want to. It's very comfortable. So we'd love to show them our new space. We are in PSU 127. Our office sits directly on top of what the bowling lanes were. So if you remember where that is and you didn't know, the bowling alley is gone. So we are in that space right now, and right next to us, they are working on an esports arena. So that might be fun for you just to come and check out anyway, if you haven't recently. And then, yes, they are welcome to come into our office and specifically talk with Tara or Briar. And we do like to have those conversations with students when they are welcome to and feel comfortable. Sometimes they get a little overwhelmed by that, but just as long as we tell them like, it is not a big deal. You can set up a time to talk with us. It is a few minutes, but we can direct you in a way that will help you become more involved. I talked to a lot of parents, actually. They will call the office and say, so-and-so hasn't had a chance to make friends. What's the best way to do it? So we will kind of brainstorm some ideas there. So we are happy to talk with anyone about what their opportunities are. So does anyone else have anything to say about that?
The only thing I would add too is that if they know that they're looking for something specific, like maybe they're looking at FSL or a Most Elite program, I put our Instagrams in the chat too. And so we all have student workers and us that look over those Instagram accounts. So they direct message us. Someone's going to get back to them pretty quickly. And that's always a good way to get a fast answer about, well, when is sorority recruitment coming up, or when is the next immersion leader session? We can always give some direct, quick answers to, but always come to our office too.
Kim came over, Kim and Jenny came over last week, I know, and Ross has been over to take a look at our new space. All of our offices are in there. We also have student offices as far as Student Activities Council offices here, our Traditions Council student office, and our Fraternity and Sorority Life student office. But again, the lounge space is open for any students to use. It is very user friendly. Eventually, we're going to have these really cool smart TVs that they can plug in and kind of work as a group wherever they are and whenever they get here. We can't wait to see those here. And again, our little conference room has been a great place. We've had a lot of compliments on students being able to hop in there for a quick meeting or to study or things like that. Our office isn't staffed 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., but the space is open. So students are always able to come in and utilize the space at any time that the Plaster Student Union is open as well. I see another question. I see a lot of off-campus advisor and people at off-site locations. What is the best way for those students to get involved? That one is a little tricky. Of course, they're always welcome to come to on-campus events if they are willing to kind of drive in or things like that. Some of our groups have allowed for involvement via Zoom, not a ton of them, but I would say some of them. I do know one particular group, Tau Sigma, the Transfer Student Honor Society, allows for everything that they do is also via Zoom and are allowed to kind of connect virtually as well. So that one is a little bit trickier. I think that early on, I was having a conversation about, getting a list of student organizations specifically open to OTC students before they transfer. And then I think, maybe this is another area that we could kind of do a little more research and find out who is offering some experiences that are virtual or open for the students who are kind of at some of our offsite locations. So when we have more about that, that's a good suggestion. And then Adam asked, is there a list somewhere of organizations that need a staff/faculty advisor? There is not a specific list of who needs one, but we will definitely take your name if you're interested in one of those, and you can send it to Briar or to Neil or to myself. Any of us will be happy to connect you and find out what your interest is in what student organization might be best suited for what you want to do and what they're looking for. Tara asked, will the new system be able to host elections, virtual elections? Yes, it will. It has the capability of doing that. And the staff are kind of dropping their email addresses into the chat box. So if anyone else wants to do that, feel free. Any other questions?
I might just add to Anita's point on the off-campus advisor, off-campus engagement stuff. If students are out there and have ideas for ways that we can engage students that are off campus, let us know. Like, we would love to help support them if they have ideas for virtual events. And if enough of them can band together, maybe we can start more virtual engagement. It's all just about what the students need and what they want, and we're happy to support them in any way that we can. So if you got a students that want more virtual engagement, just send them our way and we'll try and brainstorm with them to try and figure something out.
And on top of that too, if they're looking for a student organization and they can't find anything that piques their interest yet, Brian can tell you more about this too, but they can start their own organization on campus. They just need 4 members and a faculty advisor to any one of you lovely people, and then they can start their own student organization on campus, and our office will help them go through the process, the paperwork, and all that kind of stuff.
Also, just to chime in a little bit on the new Campus Link system, once we do get it up and going, we'll be hosting like trainings for students, trainings for future advisors, trainings for current advisors. And so if you're interested in getting trained on that new system, then just keep on the lookout for our postings. And then also, again, feel free to reach out to any of us in the office and we'll definitely get in touch with you about training on the new org management system too.
I am not seeing anything else in the chat box for now, so we'll go ahead and close up. It's getting close to time, and we are just super excited that we had this opportunity and we're up to 65 participants, and we can't tell you just how grateful we are for your time and for allowing us to chat with you today and for showing, your interest in getting our students involved. And again, feel free to reach out to our office anytime if you have any questions or you have a student who you're sitting with and, they have questions. Our number one thing is making sure that we get the opportunity to connect students to what they're most interested in.
Yeah, and Tara, thank you so much for working with me to coordinate this session. And on behalf of everyone in attendance today, thank you. Thank you to the OSC staff for helping us better understand what you do and the importance of getting students connected to campus organizations. Again, as a reminder, please plan to attend the next advisor forum on Monday, March 21st. That's going to be the one with Raylene Ziegler, Understanding Military Educational Benefits. And again, final reminder, Master Advisor Reception on Thursday, March 24th from 4 to 5 p.m. All of you are invited, and I hope that you choose to spend an hour with us celebrating excellence in advising on our campus. With that, thank you for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your day.